Alright, so this time we're looking at the HiFiMAN Arya. That is right, we're entering the Summit Fire region this time. That's right, the HiFiMAN Summit Fire region. So, let's not waste any time, let's go ahead and get started here. Before we do start, I would like to point out that these right here are the original revision. Those are the ones without that extra dust cover in between the grill, this grill right here, and the actual drivers themselves. So in case you guys didn't know, as of recently, meaning like early 2020 or late 2019, no, early 2020, there was a revision made, a silent stealth revision made by HiFiMAN to, I believe, the Sundaras, the Aryas, and I think that's it. But generally speaking, it just went ahead and applied that veil to it, not sound-wise, but an actual dust cover to protect them and prevent them from getting dusty on the inside. Do keep in mind that these are the originals and they are not that new stealth revision. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and begin. So the contents are pretty standard here. You get the HiFiMAN Aryas, which are, well, staring you right in the face. You get a dual 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve to 1/4 inch tip ring sleeve cable. As you can see, they are tip ring sleeve. This is what the cable looks like this time. It is a, well, kind of like hard cloth type of like sewn fabric cable, so to speak. And yeah, it's straight up 1/4 inch. This is not an adapter of any kind. It's just, this is the connector that they use, that they utilize here. And it's pretty short too. I want to say it's probably like 4 meters. 4 feet long, if I'm not mistaken. It's very, very short. I think like 1.5 meters of anything. Yeah, so it's about 4 feet. And of course, it also comes with the owner's manual. So once again, if you are new to what a headphone is, well, you know, HiFiMAN's got you covered. This is how to use a headphone. Thanks, HiFiMAN. Let's jump into the build quality here. The build quality is surprising. The top of the headband is made of metal, as you can see right there. The suspension strap is a perforated looking pleather material that is actually a bit cushy. And yeah, the size adjustment mechanism that connects the suspension strap with the headband, as you can see right there, is plastic, and so are the parts that attach the headband to the yokes. So these right here, where the HiFiMAN and the Arya brandings are located. Now the yokes are made of plastic, and so are the cups. The cups themselves, well, look, there's no cutting corners here. The cups themselves are massive, and they're tall. They are tall. So the pad's extreme thickness only accentuates the size of these things. And maybe the video isn't doing it much justice, but these things really are massive. They're not Odyssey massive, which is, in my opinion, a great thing, because I think Odyssey's pads are just way too massive, but they are pretty massive. Now for the comfort. Oh yeah. It's all coming together. These things are extremely lightweight for the massive planars that they are, in case you haven't noticed. So planar magnetic drivers are huge and they are heavy. These things are huge, but they're actually not heavy. They're actually pretty lightweight. Very surprising. So they are pretty lightweight, and the incredibly thick pads definitely make it a far more comfortable experience. The clamp force is just enough to mostly hold them in place as you look down, and mostly when headbanging. If these fit with slightly less clamp force, then they would be the most comfortable headphones I have ever tried. However, I prefer them this way because if they were any looser, they would simply slide off. This is, for sure, the better alternative. Now let's go ahead and approach the sound portion of this video. I conducted these tests using the provided single-ended cable without any EQ applied whatsoever. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump in. So the bass on these, whoa, that's obviously I'm gonna say more than whoa, but if you had to describe it in one word, just whoa. It is definitely unlike any other bass response I have ever heard from any headphone, period. Generally speaking, the bass response is on the thick side of things. It has a lush presentation. Not too lush, just definitely a little thicker, a little slower. Not slow, but it's a little thick. Now that sub bass though, ooh, ooh. Ooh, wow, that sub bass does not sound like it is coming from the headphone. It legitimately sounds more like you have a separate subwoofer playing right beside you as you are listening to your headphones. It doesn't sound like it's part of the headphones themselves, if that makes any sense. It literally sounds like you're listening to the headphones and everything's reproduced accurately and everything, and then you have those subwoofers like right next to you or whatever. So let me provide an example here. Zealots of Stockholm. At the minute 35 mark, that bass note is exactly how it should be. Very full and impactful, yet warm and detailed as well. Also, because of the very present sub-bass extension, the bass note is backed by that lower bass rumble underneath it. It really, really is. Like, it's not the bass note that you can hear, it's the bass note that you feel in your chest. It's an experience. It's definitely an experience. At the 3-minute 06 mark, that bass valley is heard through the majority of its duration as expected. However, the area where these differ from other headphones is that not only do these reproduce the note at its lowest portions, it does it very clearly and with excellent levels of control and clarity. Now let's jump into the mids here. Female vocals are not exactly forward, but they are well separated from the rest of the instruments. They are like hardly strident at all, if anything. An example, Dream On, the Postmodern Jukebox cover. The cello here definitely seems a bit distant and tiny, so to speak. It doesn't have a whole lot of detail on the pizzicato nor the vibrato. Timbre's pretty fair. I cannot complain about what I heard here. Generally speaking, the mids aren't exactly powerful and in your face. They're more relaxed and kind of fun to listen to. There's a good amount of detail to them as well. Just a quick FYI to tack onto the review here. I did get the chance to try out the HiFiMAN Aryas in a game of Fall Guys with some friends. We were chatting over Discord and playing the game. So something I did notice, it was increasingly harder to listen to my friends' voices over the game audio. And yes, you know, a simple solution is just to go into the game settings and lower the game audio, and you're perfectly fine. Yes. But it goes to show that the vocals, the mids, but vocals in particular in the Aryas really are more recessed compared to the lows and the highs and the instruments in the headphones. So just a quick thing to point out, if you were planning on using them that way, you're gonna have to make a bit of an audio adjustment to make it happen. So do keep that in mind. Now for the treble. Wow, nicely handled. It really is. They're not dark, although they are darker than any other HiFiMAN product that I've heard so far. They sit slightly north from neutral. They're definitely a bright-ish headphone, but very, very controlled. I can actually listen to Bangarang without the use of EQ with these. Look, they have a tiny peak somewhere in the treble response, but it can be ignored if you choose to do so. These are a perfect example of HiFiMAN executing that silvery treble response responsibly and brilliantly. These have a very, very slight amount, yet it only feels like it adds to the headphone's character, never like it actually ruins them or steers them off the course of what is correct or what is enjoyable. Now for the soundstage and imaging portion, the HiFiMAN. The headphone's capabilities coupled with the extremely thick pads make for a very wide and tall soundstage. It really is quite impressive. Imaging is absolutely brilliant too. Not to say that these are the most technically capable headphones in the imaging department, but boy, they do wonders. Boy. An example, Hotel California. Pretty much every imaging opportunity that this track presents, these headphones whack it out of the park. Wow. It's just so stellar and definitely just such a very nice experience. Very pleasurable. Now for the notes and observations portion, okay. I have a ceiling fan in my room, and if you heard the Ananda review, then you know what's going on with these two. But I have a ceiling fan in my room. Whenever I use these, the wind causes the left driver, which is where the wind is coming from, to create a sort of wobbly sound. As far as I can tell, it does not affect the sound in any way. The only time I'm able to hear this effect is on the most quiet of passages or when there is nothing playing. It's not concerning, but you do have to take note of this quirk. It definitely doesn't affect the sound quality, like I said, and I wouldn't worry about it breaking or anything, but it can definitely get annoying over time, especially if, let's say, what if it's not a ceiling fan? What if you have a tower fan right next to you, blowing air in a particular direction, like on your left side or your right side? If you do have that, I would strongly second guess these because you're going to have that constant whoosh kind of sound. And at that level of strength, with it so present in that scenario, I don't know how ignorable it would be. So do keep that in mind. Now, personal gripe here. Although the extremely thick pads are great for comfort and help increase soundstage, I would personally prefer thinner pads on these. The problem I experience is volume issues. Look, I simply can't find the limit when raising the volume. You're raising the volume and then it gets loud enough to a certain point where your ears tell you yep, this is it. This right here is what you need to enjoy the track, but definitely not enough to destroy your ears. That I just can't find with this particular headphone for some reason. Then when I finally find it, when I finally get loud enough, I get the feeling in my ears that would tell you that the volume is too loud. It's not that the sound is harsh, but you're experiencing a mild pain in the ears, and it's that kind of mild pain. It's where it's too loud, you need to turn it down a bit. So you do, and when I turn it down to what's comfortable, the music is now too quiet to enjoy, too distant. Great sound, but too distant. This is a problem I've experienced with Odyssey's LCD series, which have mile wide pads, as well as the M40X, the AudioTechnica M40Xs, when I tried the ZMF cowhide pads on them. They were just way too far apart and sounded way too distant. And then if you try to turn it up to kind of balance that out, it ended up sounding too loud and hurting your ears. So there was never a correct volume level for your ears to reach. Now for fun, I tried my hand at some EQ. These settings are very, very minimal, only to reduce that slight sibilance at the 6K mark and to add a bit of that extra thump at the 30 hertz. That 30 hertz thump is extremely unnecessary, but I went ahead and did it just in case, see what it sounds like. Go ahead and apply those settings if you feel like it, but again, they're not 100% necessary, although for me, I do like that 6K reduction just to bring it down a tiny little bit. So let's jump into the conclusion here. Man, these things are amazing. They definitely are amazing, very impressive headphone. But I mean, you'd kind of expect that at this price point. Now, deciding on whether I will keep these or not is going to be quite the challenge, I assure you. These things are easily my favorite. These things are easily my favorite HiFiMAN product to date, for sure. So let me put it to you this way. Are these worth $1,600 brand new? Considering their technical capabilities, the traits that make these special, and the enjoyment factor, I don't believe they are. Not quite $1,600. But are these worth the $1,100-ish in the pre-owned market? I really think they are for most people. Look, I'm just gonna give it to you straight. If you are after technical capabilities above all else, if it's all about the absolute best performer in the price range, the Sennheiser HD800s and the HD800S are also available pre-owned for anywhere between $750 to $1,000, maybe $1,050, and will give you slightly better detail and imaging than these for slightly cheaper. Yeah, if you're after the technical performance, those are gonna do better than the Aryas are. If you are not willing to pay the premium to grab these, the Focal LX do offer a very deep bass extension as well, while offering a mostly neutral response at a price point of around $500 to $700, depending on whether it's new or pre-owned. But you will lose that comfort aspects that these have in spades. If you remember my reviews of the LX, both of them, you'll recall that although I find their sound to be absolutely amazing, their comfort is one of the worst, just one of the least comfortable headphones I have ever put on my head. And I have a love-hate relationship with it, where it's I love the LX, but I hate their comfort, but I love their sound, but I hate their comfort. Back and forth. I have them, I own them, but guess how much head time they get with me as opposed to the HD800s or HD600s. So yeah, ultimately, if it all lies on your preferences and your wallet, do these have the potential to be that one headphone to rule them all? As in, can you own these as your only headphone for music and never ever look back? Absolutely, you can definitely do that. These definitely get my thumbs up. So anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Will I keep these? I don't know yet. You'll have to stay tuned and find out, I will reveal that in upcoming videos. Or you'll just continue to see them in upcoming videos and be like, hey, he kept them. So anyways, that's gonna do it for me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave any comments down below if you have any questions. Don't forget to check out the Patreon if you like what you see. Well, if you join the Patreon and become a patron, you'll get to experience that more often. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video helped your purchasing decision. Have yourself a good day.